Here we go.
Here we go.
There we go.
Oh my goodness. I am here.
Hello, Miss Kimberlee Wambua. First of all, let me do the correct, introduction formation. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is JLDOMOND, and I am the author of Spirit of a Woman. And the young lady who is our guest today is Mrs. Kimberlee Wambua. Wambua. She's married Nigerian. Kenyan. Oh, he gonna do all types to kill me after he done cooked me. I apologize, brother Gerald. She's remarried Kenyan, but so I want to welcome you guys. Thank you for tuning in. And just a quick understanding for those who may not really know about the book or want to understand where the inspiration of doing this series came from, is because when I first started making this book, I really wanted it to be a conversation, something that women or just people can use to understand, the layers of a woman better, especially in the climate that we're in. It's like women are not a monolith. We're not all the same. And a lot of things and rules being put in place is making us feel very restricted. So I appreciate that there's a space that I've created where women were able to share their journey, their experience, her stories, along with my poetry and along with my story and some cool graffiti art. So tonight we want to dive into, because I handpicked, I believe it's 8 contributors to this book, and they were handpicked purposely, and I thank them all for taking the invite, and I hope to have them all here one by one. And Miss Kimberlee Wambua is our first contributor, so please give her a round of applause or a bunch of likes in the comment section. So first,
thank you
yes,
so much
tell us
for
a little
having
bit about
me.
you, who you are.
Well, I am Kimberlee Wambua, like my favorite beautiful cousin just mentioned. I am a mom, a wife, Brooklyn, New York native, living in San Diego, however, where I reside in
Where the
this
sunshine
beautiful,
resides.
sunny place that I don't see myself coming back. Yes. Yeah, and I'm passionate about helping people. That's something that kind of was birthed in me since a teenager, like 14 years old. So it's always been my passion to help people, to want to give back, to be a blessing to others the way God has always put people in my life to bless me. So always wanting to pay it forward, whether that's work, meeting people on the street, or through my yoga business. This is my passion.
Well, speaking of the whole, wanting to assist and help and support, what made you decide when I came to you and asked you to be a part of this, and understanding that you had to be vulnerable to people who don't know? And I know you have your own business where part of your business is telling your story. So I just want a little backstory on, why you were willing to be open and vulnerable to people about your story.
Yep, aside because you asked me and you're awesome. I wrote my story and decided to be vulnerable in that moment because I wanted other women, or just anybody, to know that they're not alone in the different struggles or traumas that they went through. Mine specifically that I wrote in my story had to do with going through a devastating divorce. But I wanted to show people also that through their trauma, through their pain, through their fears, that they can move past those things and still move forward with their purpose that God has on their life. And lastly, it's also healing for me to be able to share my story, to be able to speak and tell my own story in my own voice, because that's healing when you're able to forgive and let things go and be able to speak on those things. So it's also healing for me as well, to be able to share it and not try to sweep it under the rug, but to be able to sit in those things, to reflect in those things, and move forward.
Well, starting with, telling the journey, you started with the divorce. We're going to rewind a little bit to the marriage. So first of all, how old were you when you first got married?
Yep. So at the tender age of 20 years old, I married my high school sweetheart, you know, who was a Marine, which as soon as we got married, we got relocated to Virginia. So we kind of, as soon as we got married, I left all my family, all my friends to kind of follow him and his career, which took us to different states every few years.
Okay. So since you stopped there,
Yep.
I'm gonna be asking some questions. I know I gave you some fun questions, but the interview is obviously gonna bring
Sure.
some organic ones. We are in a society
No
where
worries.
women are more and more being concerned about giving up things that may be for the happiness of their partner.
Mm-hmm.
So when you decided to root yourself up from all of your support system, do you feel that you
Mm-hmm.
compromised too much, or were you comfortable because this is my husband and this was part of the, you know, the journey? Like, you're not thinking it's going to end, so you don't care, you'll go through whatever. And this is the three part, looking back for that particular segment of just upping and moving, would you do things differently now?
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Great questions for sure. Um, Moving and uprooting my life, do I feel like I totally did that for him? Absolutely not. At 20 years old, my mama ain't raised no fool. So I left with the intent that I would still be able to accomplish the things that I wanted to, such as, you know, still continuing to get my bachelor's because I was halfway through. So for me, it was with the understanding that if I'm moving to support you in your career, that these are also things that I have, these are goals that I have that I still want to accomplish. So no, I don't feel like I moved just because of him. However, I will say that I did get lost in his community, because when you marry somebody in the military, not only are you following their career and uprooting your life, but your identity gets wrapped into that person. You know, I got wrapped into being a military spouse. I was somebody's wife. And now I was connected to a military community that, once divorced, all those things I just mentioned, I was no longer a part of. So I feel like I did lose who I was, and I had to reassess, who is this Kimberlee now, that I'm no longer married to this Marine. I'm no longer a military spouse, you know. So in the process, did I lose myself? Naturally, yes, just because that's kind of the way it works with the military life, which is, that's a
Some
whole
people
nother
will
thing
also
in of
beg,
itself.
sorry, not to cut you off.
Um,
Some people will also beg to argue the fact
sure.
that at the age of 20, some people may feel like that is kind of young to marry because, quote unquote, you don't know yourself quite yet. So you may feel like you lost yourself, but
Yeah.
is it maybe just an expansion of your discovery? Because, or did you feel like you had a solid identity at 20 and no, you knew who Kimberlee was and there was no um, really self awakening or self exploration that needed to happen by 20?
Let me tell you, I am still finding myself and, and learning, Kimberlee. I feel like that's a lifelong process. And to answer the third part of that question, would I go back and change anything? Absolutely not. I was ready in that moment to be married. I knew what I wanted to do. I didn't fully understand that at 20 years old, because there's things that you still have to grow through. But I feel like still at the age of 21, 39, um, you know, I'm still coming into my own, still figuring out the things that make me Kim. Now that I am remarried, I am a mom now, you know, I'm still coming into me. So I would feel like I'm
Okay,
still growing as a
so
person.
let's stay in that space for a little bit. So was the divorce
Sure.
was it for you, was it sudden? Was it your decision? Was it something that took a long process for you to come to a conclusion for? Like, what was the emotional introduction to this idea of divorce?
Yeah. So was not my decision. It was sudden for me because I wasn't expecting it. We weren't arguing like you would think a couple would do. We did all of the same normal things. So for me, I was more blindsided. And because of that, it hit me a lot harder, and it took me a lot longer to process and accept. So personally, I went through a lot of anxiety, a lot of panic attacks. Physically in my body, I wound up having surgery, and it was just a lot for me to wrap my mind around, a person no longer being in your life that you knew since you were 14 years old. So for me, the shame behind being a divorcee, how are people going to see me, all those things came into play, on top of the fact of me trying to figure out, okay, who am I now that this man no longer wants to be married, which is embarrassing, right? And now people are going to know that you're divorced and all those things.
I am happy that you said it, because it was something I wanted to bring up a little bit, but I wasn't sure, you know, when you said the shame in society, it's always the woman going to leave, right? Like, you know, it's whatever. So to say I was still in love, or I was still in it, I was still looking to work towards something, and the other person is kind of going against what people assume. You know, you're beautiful, you got it all together, who wouldn't want you? Now you got to deal with those questions. It's society puts us in an interesting space where they tell us to, you know, do what's best for us, but at the same time they will shame us if it doesn't look like what they expect it to look like, you know. And I congratulate you for being able to walk through that process. And tell me about that process a little bit, especially like you said, you being rooted up, no support system.
Yeah. So by this time, when a divorce happened, I was here in San Diego, now 3,000 miles away from family, friends, but God. And going through this divorce was my purpose, because, and I'm going to tell you about the process in a second, but if it wasn't for that divorce, I wouldn't be who I am today in this moment. I feel like I wouldn't have much to say. I feel like I wouldn't be able to help people, to help women, to speak to people, to speak to different hurts, to speak to different traumas like I am now, and understand more from a personal level and what more empathy. That was God's plan. You know, we never had kids in 8.5 years of being married to then meet my husband 6 years later and get pregnant just like that. It wasn't God's plan, you know, so I accepted that. But my process, and why I said in the beginning, why I chose to share my story, why I choose to do what I do on more of a personal level, is because being out here with no family, no friends, God put a group of these older ladies in my life who loved
old
on
ladies
me,
sitting
who
under the
supported
tree.
me, and most importantly, they kept it real.
Oh, the older
Straight
folks gonna tell you what it is. We got some older folks watching right now. Miss Denise, Mama Famous, Rita, my mama, they will tell, if you our age, go to them with their advice, or they gonna keep it 100 with us. Shout out to y'all.
Yes, and yes, that old wisdom, that's who you go to. You speak to the women who've been there before you. And I had a nice group of women who loved on me, who took care of me. Some was old enough to be my grandma, who bought me casseroles, but they made food. Like, they really loved on me like if I was family. Like, wholeheartedly, really, really loved on me. And then I took that time to self-reflect, because, like I said, because it wasn't my decision and because it was sudden, I was angry. I was beyond angry. I was blaming him. I was blaming God. I even blamed my dad. I was like, you brought this on me too.
Wait, hold on. I'm going to read. Do you have the book? I'm going to read the excerpt. Do you have it? I'll say, so can we, everybody who has their book, I told y'all we're going to be reading from the book. So can we go, everyone, you should be in the Beauty from ashes. I know I did not give these pages a number. It's all right. It's all right. It's in the y'all find it. It's Beauty for Ashes. Anyway, please read the second paragraph.
It says, I was angry, bitter, and I blamed my ex-husband as well as God for everything that happened. It was also the first time in my life that I began to experience anxiety and panic attacks because I did not know how to deal with these kinds of feelings. I was overwhelmed with fear of what people might think of me and how my life would be now that I'm labeled, quote unquote, a divorcee. Then one day I met a woman that said a few critical words to me that changed my life and started my path towards forgiveness. You see, what she told me was that I played a role in what happened in my marriage as well. And let me tell you, in that moment, I was set free from playing the victim of my past. I accepted my part in the marriage, which began my journey of healing and self-reflection. At least once in our lifetime, you will meet someone who completely changes the course of your life. And it's your choice on how you allow this experience to reflect.
That was the word, yes. That was just a little snippet. I told y'all, if y'all don't got the book is deep, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I just want to tap on this because obviously the thing that jumped out is you said, at least once in our lifetime, we will meet someone who completely changes the course of our life. How many times have we said, out of nowhere, this person came to me and changed my mind, or I didn't do something because this person talked me out of it? Or there are times when people come our way, and because we're so close-minded, because it doesn't look how we, like you said, it was a bunch of older people. You might have felt like, I'm young. I don't want to be around no old people. I want to be around my peers. I want us to do it how we do it. And you might have missed a blessing. So that is a word for the people listening.
Absolutely.
When God is bringing people in your life who may be able to pour into you, it may not be the people that you poured into. Do not miss the blessing, because then you'll be talking about you're lonely, ain't got nobody to talk to, and God be like, I done brought you 2 people, but because you don't want to open up or see it for what it is, you're missing out on a blessing. So that is dope. And one of the major things you talked about was accountability. How important is accountability when people do things to you? Because see, people feel like just because you did something to me, I have no blame. You might have done something that caused a reaction. Like, you never know how things are playing out. So talk a little bit about finding accountability even when you have been done wrong.
Yeah, at the end of the day, in this case, yes, what he did was wrong by not telling me, what was going on and doing it suddenly, right? Right. And moving me to a place that I know nobody and all those things, right? Yeah, they were all bad things that he did. However, I have a choice. And a lot of times people make it seem like I don't have a choice. This person did this to me. So because this person did this to me, this is how I reacted. No, you have a choice. And what I realized in that moment was before I was letting my choice be taken away by just being angry. I made my choice in how I responded by choosing to forgive him in that moment. Now, let me say something else. I was ready to hear what that girl had to say, because I was, when she said it, everything up in me boiled up, and I wanted to be like, no, but you don't know. But it was like, I had a common sense of God is like, no, you need to receive this. And when she said it, I was like, oh. And it was like a peace came up on me. And I swear, in that moment, I forgave him, because that was my choice. That was my freedom to be able to let it go. Or did I want all that anger and bitterness to eat me up inside? And what I was doing prior to all of that was I was praying angry. God was hearing my prayers and knowing that I needed to heal from this. And that girl was sent there, to tell me that.
So not only were people something that you leaned into your spiritual space. Now, you also, which we'll
Absolutely.
get into in a minute about your entrepreneurship, you leaned heavily into yoga, which I think you said helped save you. So talk a little bit about, I don't know if there is a connection between spirituality and yoga, but the spirituality and the yoga element of the process.
Yeah. So in addition to meeting the women, because I was having panic attacks and because I was having a lot of anxiety, I was having a hard time with keeping my thoughts together. I was having a hard time with praying. I was just a hot mess. So I decided to start yoga. And at first it was like, all right, I'm going to just exercise. Exercise makes you feel better. But for me, what I got from yoga was so much more. Yoga also taught me not only to have a fit body, right, and be flexible and look cute in poses, but what it also taught me was how to meditate. And during my meditation, during yoga time, I would actually be praying to God. That was my time where I was able to actually quiet my mind and speak to God and actually hear him. So while everybody else was doing what they was doing, I was connected to my God. I was connecting to God to hear him better, you know, to be able to hear his voice, to be able to even talk to him, to be able to actually calm my mind down so that I'm not flooded with all these thoughts, but I can be in the present moment. So that was what yoga did for me and why I'm passionate about sharing it and, you know, decided to get certified. So all those things. And then also at the time going to get my master's in psychology so that I could better understand me and going through divorce, because that's the whole process, as well as being able to better help other people and understand where other people were coming from, was kind of my whole process behind, okay, how am I going to move forward? And if God put me through all this pain, I got to use this pain. None of this pain is going wasted. You know?
So my harvest in tears, baby.
Yes.
So the harvest in tears. So you did this yoga thing. So did you immediately have the idea of business, of life coaching or whatever? Like, when did that come into play?
So that came to play a little bit after me getting my master's. When I was just like that, thinking like, how can I be a blessing to other women? And then I thought, oh, Beauty from Ashes coaching. So I originally wanted to do life coaching. And of course, Beauty from Ashes is inspired by one of my favorite Bible scriptures, which at the time, being around those groups of women, I was doing Bible study.
Hold on. Tell the scripture, but I want somebody to give me the address of the scripture. We're gonna see who get it first. We got a little spread up of women merchandise. If you could guess the scripture that she tells us. So don't give us the address, just give us the scripture. First person. Go ahead.
So I don't know exact word from word. I could pull out the Bible, but no. But the scripture was that God will give you beauty for your ashes, which essentially means that, you know, God will give you beauty for your pain, for your hurt, for your trauma. And I was like, this is so fitting. So who can tell me? Go ahead. You want this free merchandise?
So that is awesome. So how did you, because we're not going to act like you could be doing good and then you fall back into the hole. So how did you dig and not fall back in the rabbit hole, or did you? And if you did, where did you find the discipline to keep staying until you finally was like the rabbit out the hole and saw the light and was like, I am healed? Like, what were some practical things you might have done to make sure that even when your mind wanted to go back into a space, Tiana said Isaiah 61. Wait, hold on. I got you. Go ahead and answer the question while I confirm. I need a scripture. I need a verse and the chapter, not just chapter 61, unless you meant 6-1. Confirm, Tiana. Go ahead, Kimberlee.
Okay. So I'm getting excited for y'all. Y'all about to do some good stuff. Look. So So, yes. So it was a process. I would say it was something that I had to continue to work on. And it was a combination of staying connected with my support system, my community of women, also having my private time with God, doing yoga. I also did acupuncture. I was getting in all the natural stuff as well. And then I also did a lot of self-reflection, which none of that happens overnight, right? And it took some time to go through it for sure.
So
yeah. And then, those days when I would get sad, I would turn back to God and, kind of, look
remember
and remember like there. And remember there's no waste in you going through a trauma. It's always with a purpose. God always has a plan on how you're supposed to use that. And it's kind of your job to make sure you recognize that pain or that trauma that you went through and not let it stall you. And that was back to the connection of life coaching. That was the reason why I originally wanted to start there, by helping people push past their fears. But then that later turned into yoga wellness and meditation, which was more of the deeper process of things, and kind of came to me after the passing of my dad. It kind of resurfaced, and it just came to me as a small voice, because my dad always supported me from very young in everything that I did, and always reminded me to never let anything hold me back. And then I started to think like, Dad, what do I really love? And I started since 2009, and that was yoga. And I was like, I love teaching.
Do you think you found your purpose?
Yoga. I love meditation. Yes, definitely with that, because for me, with life coaching is more of giving so much. But with yoga and meditation, I also receive so much back. For me, it's like an ebb and flow when I do my classes. For me, I feel good every time. So it's something that I'm passionate about giving, but it gives me back so much more.
I'm so proud, because so often people are looking for their purpose, and you found it on accident by being constructive about your pain and, things like that. So for people who are looking for their purpose, again, the very things that you're running from or you're not trying to heal from could be the very things that set you free to find it. So that is something that we all need to reflect on.
Yeah.
So I want to know, how long after this amazing process and finding yoga did you find love again? Because, remember, we're 20, a baby, first marriage.
Right.
How old were you? Because now I'm in cocoon butterfly imagery. How old were you before you found, or Gerald found, or y'all found each other?
So, yes. And regarding Tiana's comment, go for it. Find the right yoga for you.
Yes, yoga, it's confirmation.
Awesome. Yes. So, so 20 years old when I first got married, 8.5 years in marriage, divorced. And then I met Gerald in 2016. In February, and then by August of 2016, I was pregnant with my beautiful son that we love so much, Christian. So that was about 6 years of being divorced.
So you took the time
when I met him,
for real.
Which for me, I took a lot of time to heal. I took a lot of time to sit in that pain, to sit in that hurt, because it's important to feel those feelings, right? It's important to reflect, and kind of like how the girl said, you played a role. So looking at, okay, what role did I play, right? Is there anything that I would want to do differently, So I really took that time to heal as a person, to really get back to, who am I now? Who do I want to be? during that time. So when I found him, I was ready. And clearly God had his plan, because in all that time, not once
And they say,
did I get
because
pregnant.
it was about, what, a
Not
good
once.
6 to 8 months or something, and everything just happened from meeting him or something like that. And you know what they say, it may take a while, but what God
Yeah.
want to do, it can happen in an instant. And instant, it's, after
Yeah.
6 years, yes, I know what you say, it was instantaneous, like after waiting. So that is another gem for people to remember, is that, yes, don't rush God,
Don't rush
and
God.
don't think
God
that
got a plan.
just because you're on a different time, it can't be your time. And don't think it can't be your time again. Shout out to Miss
Yeah.
Tiana, who, you know, we know her B2B, she's about to get married, and they known each other for what, like since
Yeah,
high school?
congratulations.
You know what I'm saying? That's 20, 30 years, and they went
That's
through
awesome.
everything, and they found each other again. In the end, they chose each other. So, you know, you never know what your timing is going to
See?
look like, and you don't know what the plan is. So don't get caught on other people's journey. You really can take inspiration from it, but don't judge your journey
Wow, 20
on
years.
someone else's. You know, just know that if he could do it for them,
Yeah.
he could do it for you. That's what you could do if you want to look at somebody else's journey, because you don't know what they got to do. Like you heard her, she went through a whole process. She went through marriage and divorce. Yeah, some of y'all ain't built for all of that. So don't be asking for the same journey
Ooh.
if y'all can't take the same pain. All right? All right. So,
There you go.
so you found, you went through all that, you found love again, you found an entrepreneur, and you also work a regular 9 to 5, let's not forget. And you're entering into this motherhood, you're thrown into it, and you barely hit 31 in the face. Barely. Huh?
I tell you. I said, I tell you.
So you keep it yourself together. But I wanna say this though. You went through all these things, everything looks amazing, and there's still things that you have struggles with. For instance, with all this support now, not all, but yeah, all this support now, you got your husband, you got what you always wanted, your son, you got the life, the love, the marriage you always wanted, and you spoke on it a little bit about your father passing. With all that around you, with all that love around you, you stop wanting to pursue your business at one point because you just didn't feel it. So just talk, I wanted 2 points I'm just trying to make. Be careful of thinking just because when you get what you want or what you desire, what you see for your life, that you will not go through anything else. There will always be something as long as you're living. That's one. And people who always move like, oh, I will be happy when I get married, I will be happy, that is putting a lot of pressure on other people and externals, because things like what you went through can happen to you, and having all those people still won't matter for you. So be careful when you're looking for love and you're looking for things. What are you leading with? Don't lead with that desperation of finding someone to complete you. As she said, she was healing and working in her trauma already. Okay, she wasn't looking for someone to rescue her because she didn't want to sit in her pain, and she just wanted another guy to make her feel better. She did the work. So we want to remind people of those 2 things for real. Because how did you bounce back from that?
To add to what you said, again, with the, oh, I want to be married, or I want whatever it is, with, you know, or even a kid, right? With everything that you get, every blessing, there's a sacrifice.
Say that one more time for the people in the back, please. Somebody put that in the chat. Go ahead, man.
Let's say it again. With every blessing is a sacrifice, right? So even with being married, marriage is not easy. You now have 2 people coming together with 2 different backgrounds, with 2 different cultures, in my case, 2 different personalities, 2 different upbringings, different traumas, all these things coming together that now you have to navigate that you didn't when you were single. Or even becoming a mom, like I am now, I mean, that's still many of you guys that's on this chat are also moms. You know, that's still a struggle with how you navigate throughout, you know, making time for yourself, not getting, you know, caught up in even being your child's mom. You know, then it's I'm Christian's mom. I'm I'm Gerald's wife. You know, you still have to make sure that you have time for you, that you have your own identity as well. So wanted to say that. Um, and then I think you asked, how did I bounce back
Because now
from
you have everything that you
all of,
always wanted, and then something else happens, and now you're left in this empty
mm-hmm,
space again. So what happens when things like that happen
yep,
to us? Because like I was saying, people forget that things will still happen even when you're favored and you're blessed. So touch a little bit on that.
yeah. So for me, I stopped originally the Beauty for Ashes coaching when my dad passed because one,
You guys'
I'm the
birthday
biggest
were
daddy's
close.
girl.
A couple days.
Yes, we celebrated our birthdays together on 4th of July. My birthday to me means fireworks, you know, big deal. You know, my dad was always there for us, always remember him being there. My dad would drop whatever, come to Timbuktu, you know, Cheryl, my sister, Taniqua, you guys already know. So for me, because I'm his baby, for me, I felt like I lost a bit of myself. And I needed that time to grieve. I needed that time to reflect back inward into me and kind of figure out what I wanted. I didn't even look at that business. I didn't touch anything until I just kind of took the time to sit with God again and really reflect on what I want to do. And then that's when that small voice was like, yeah, go for that yoga certification that I cried so many times on because it's a lot. But I knew that that was what I wanted to do. And when I
So
started,
hold
I was
up.
like,
Oh God,
yes.
sorry. So real quick.
Um,
So
yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
point out the pattern. You got everything you wanted.
Yeah.
Then you felt that pain. You found a purpose. You got everything
Mm-hmm.
you wanted. You felt that pain. Your purpose got pivoted to what you're passionate is about. And
Yeah.
I appreciate that you're living in your beauty from ashes in real time.
I think it's too, what kind of came to my mind is the pruning of God, right? To make sure that you're still on the path that you need to be on. And kind of that was what it was for me, because I know you mentioned I have, you know, my still 9 to 5 job, or in my case, 6 to 2:30 job. But I'm also a success coach. So I am already life coaching people every day, all day, pouring into people, pouring into people. And for me, it was just kind of like, you're already doing that. You know, how else can you be a blessing to where you're not just fully depleted, because you still have your husband and your son that you have as well, including yourself. So it was kind of a pivot for me, and which was a better fit for me during that time. Again, although painful, again, I feel like your pain was
So
never
tell us a little
wasted.
bit about what is now the yoga wellness, business, on your IG. Give us a little bit of information. I'll put it on the IG. But tell us about that business now. You've done your sipping paints and everything. So I'll let you tell it. How people can find
Yep.
you, all that. Who's interested in yoga, everything.
Yes. So definitely. So got certified. I'm actually a registered yoga teacher and meditation instructor. I'm also certified in prenatal yoga because I was also doing prenatal yoga when I got pregnant with my son, and it was amazing. My birthing experience was amazing. Um, so I certified in all those areas, and I just provide a holistic wellness to help people just reduce anxiety and stress of everyday life. Um, and through that, I just teach people to use their breath to help them grow, to help them heal, and to find um, a better sense of self-awareness that also helps them to just become a better person wherever it is that they're trying to grow in, and as well as having
because you know it works good for the tush.
right?
You know what I'm
Because
saying?
that's
Or
what
just
yoga
even getting
does.
a workout. Oh, it worked good
I'm
for the
just
tush.
saying. Exactly. Yes. So I do yoga,
So if
meditation,
people want
and
to do any of your
meditative painting
classes, you're available on
classes,
Zoom, right?
workshops.
Because not all of us in California. It's sunny California, so we want to do a class. How
I
do we do it? What do
know.
we got to do?
So those are coming again on Zoom right now. I'm doing a lot of my stuff in person. However, be sure to follow me on my IG at Beauty for Ashes _ yoga wellness. So definitely check me out. I am working on having everything be online. It's not only going to be live classes via Zoom, but I'm going to do my yoga classes on demand, hopefully here in the next few months. But right now I'm kind of doing my stuff in person. But yeah, this has been a great journey that started off, you know, through pain. But again, like I said before, I share my story to let people know that you're not alone, that you can heal, that you can move past your pain, and there's healing. There is healing in telling your story, to where I can sit here years later today without busting into tears, without being angry at this man, and wish him nothing but the best.
Let's give her hearts for the growth and the wellness. We love you for that, Kim. So with all the growth, with all the learning, and we know that we're never done learning, but for what you know for right now, oh, look at all the love and all the hearts they give you. Yes. What would you tell your younger self?
Take it. That is a good one. I feel like I don't regret anything that has happened, but what I would tell my younger self is to walk more in who you are, speak your mind a lot quicker, and ask a lot more questions is kind of what I would say. And I would say continue to keep working hard, going after your dreams, because all the things that you go through are what empowers you and what helps you to become a better person so that you can serve others.
Ask a lot of questions. Say that one more. Tell me why it's important to ask questions. No, I want to say that because in society, women are sometimes noted aggressive or nagging and things like that when we asking questions, or because people may not know the answers, they want to try to belittle you for trying to use your voice. So talk about how important it is as a woman to use your voice and to ask those questions and not care when other people are trying to silence the voice.
I think that's super important, and that also aligns with knowing who you are, right? Because when you know who you are, you're not going to back down in the things that you want to know, or being afraid to ask the things that you want to know. I feel like personally, and I always reflect on how I grew up, right? I didn't grow up in a household with people fighting, you know, even like with my dad, I never seen him scream or argue. But for me personally, it kind of hindered me from being able to ask questions or to stand in that truth of saying how I felt because of how I was raised. So for me, like even with my first marriage, I felt like maybe I didn't know what was going on because I just chose to just let things go instead of saying, hey, what's going on? Or, hey, this is what I'm concerned about. So for me, it taught me how to use my voice a lot more. It's taught me how to stand in my truth. It taught me how to speak up when I have something on my mind and not be silenced, because I know who I am. Look. Oh, okay.
I'm here for that spirit of a woman. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you do not have this book yet, you are missing out. This is just the first installment. I'm going to be speaking to more contributors. And matter of fact, I think I'm going to like open this up to more women if the response is good. And we're just going to have talk to all women. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like all of us got a
Why
story. We just happen to write
not?
it in a book. So, you know
Oh,
what I'm saying?
thanks.
We gonna make this a thing. And I want to thank again Miss Kimberlee Wambua, our Beautiful Ashes yoga wellness coach. And I hope that y'all, you know what? I'm feeling nice because it's the first episode. I ain't gonna do this every episode. If you can write down without scrolling back up, no cheating. If you can write down and no family, the cousins, y'all know who you are. If you could tell me
Oh God.
Kimberlee's business name and the city she's located in, another piece of merch is going out. Okay? I need that answer by the time I finish this poem. So we're going to end this with a poem from the book. And again, if you have your book with you, you need to come through and read with me. Make sure y'all get the merch, get the book. Y'all see back there, I got posters. I got all that for y'all at Designed to Create. Tiana, no, Tiana. I should have said not Tiana. Tiana, you ain't even got to buy the book no more. You done won everything. You know what? Tiana, I said no family. You count as family right now. You don't count.
She already won some. She's trying to win twice. Look, she's like, I'm
Tiana can't
win
figure out. No one else gets a chance. Y'all gotta tune in next week for the next gift. Tiana won this week. Oh, here we go with Miss Vanessa getting mad. So we're gonna end it. Any last words, Miss Wambua, before I finish off?
I just want to say thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share my story. Thank you so much for everybody who joined and listened to my story. I appreciate you guys all so much. I thank you again for this opportunity and letting me be the first guest. I feel special, okay? And I just wish you so much success and many blessings to your future books. They are amazing, and you have allowed a lot of women to share their story already.
Thank you, my love.
Awesome.
All that.
So thank you
right
so
back
much.
to you. I didn't say that you were my cousin, but everybody know that's my cousin. So I appreciate that she came.
Hey.
And Tiffany, it's all right that you joined late. You can watch the replay, and trust me again, this is the first one. So next time y'all put me on a notification bell so y'all know when and where I'm on. You feel me? All right, with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to leave with something from Spirit of a Woman, and it's for you and this beautiful young lady, Kimberlee Wambua. It's called Weight of the World. If no one else told you today, girl, you're amazing. Your whole essence, God took his time to uniquely make it. There is no one like you. Don't desire to be another or allow yourself to be bottom barreled when you are top shelf. I'm talking sipping Henry Heritage Cognac, wearing Christian Dior Couture, hopping out of a Bugatti Noir. You wear the weight of your world on your shoulders. Treat yourself and show others how they're supposed to. Learn how to be selfless and selfish at the same time. Don't apologize if you want to live a lifestyle of fine wine. Just stay on your grind. Surround yourself with a tribe of common vision who will help distribute the load when they see you straining. Smile more, laugh more, stay true to who you are. Be mindful that there's always room for growth. Don't settle for subpar. No matter how far off the path you go, don't beat down by judgment. Show them how to go from being a pile of ashes to rising above it. Phoenix, valor inherited. So if no one else told you today, girl, you're amazing. Your whole essence. God took his time to uniquely make it. There is no one like you. Don't desire to be anyone else or allow yourself to be bottom barreled when you were top shelf. And on that note, ladies, thank you for joining Spirit of a Woman. Get your copy at design2create.org. That's design the number 2. And I see you next time. Oh.
Wait, hold on, and make sure y'all follow me on my IG and Facebook, Beauty for Ashes Yoga Beauty for Ashes _yoga wellness. Thank you guys so much. You guys have a wonderful night.
It is your time to inspire. Let your light shine through, people. Peace.